Their sensors had never encountered anything like it. Deep in the darkness of the Zorathian sector, the alien warship trembled as a faint blip appeared on their long-range scanners. The signal was small, almost insignificant, but it carried a strange energy pattern they had never seen. Commander Varel narrowed his eyes, leaning forward as the bridge hummed with quiet tension. "Identify that object," he ordered. The technician hesitated. It's a human warship, sir. From the outer colonies. Unknown class. Minimal signature." Varel froze. Humans. They were supposed to be primitive. The last records of the species showed them as small, weak, and uncoordinated. Yet here they were, drifting into Zorathian territory with confidence, or perhaps ignorance. Either way, it was bold. On board the human ship, the crew didn't yet know they had been spotted. Captain Elena Rourke stood at the observation window, her hands pressed lightly against the glass, staring into the endless void. The stars outside seemed calm, silent, and ordinary, but the ship's instruments told another story. Every reading pulsed with strange interference, flickering signals that made the ship's lights stutter. "Something's messing with our systems," whispered Lieutenant Marco Reyes, his fingers flying over the console. "It's not a malfunction. It feels deliberate." Elena's jaw tightened. "Then they've noticed us. Keep us ready. I want shields at 40%. Engines primed for immediate jump. Nobody panics. Not now. Not ever." Deep in the alien warship, Varel's fingers danced over the controls. "Open a communication channel," he said. "Let's see what they're made of." A moment later, a holographic projection appeared in the human warship's communication bay. It was a tall, multi-limbed alien figure, shimmering with colors that humans had no names for. Its voice was deep and resonant. "This is Commander Varel of the Zorathian fleet. Identify yourselves," it demanded. Elena leaned forward, her eyes meeting the projection. "This is Captain Elena Rourke of the Valiant. We are on a peaceful mission." The alien paused. Its compound eyes blinked in unison. "Peaceful? You are in restricted space. You will explain your presence, human." Elena hesitated. She knew the truth of her mission could not be revealed. Not yet. The human colonies depended on it. "We are surveying uncharted systems," she replied carefully. "We mean no harm." Varel tilted his head, curious and suspicious. "Surveying? You lie. We detect military-grade systems aboard your vessel. Weapons, shields, engines far beyond any human record. Explain." On the bridge, the crew exchanged nervous glances. They had anticipated detection, but confrontation so soon was unexpected. Marco muttered, "They're analyzing us. Too fast." Elena pressed a hand to her communicator. "All units, prepare defensive protocols. If they attack, we survive at all costs, but do not fire unless I order." The alien commander's eyes seemed to narrow. "Your hesitation is curious. Humans are unpredictable, perhaps dangerously so." In the control room, an alarm shrieked. The alien fleet had begun tracking the Valiant's every movement. Missiles, drones, and scanning pulses started locking on. For the humans, every beep of the sensors felt like a drum of war. Elena's voice was steady. "Evasive maneuvers. Begin silent drift. Activate interference fields." The ship shuddered as it adjusted its course. Outside, the stars streaked with sudden light as the ship darted through gravitational currents, twisting and spinning in ways the aliens could not anticipate. On board, the crew held tight to consoles, hearts hammering. In the alien fleet, confusion spread. The humans moved like ghosts, impossible to predict, their warship bending physics in ways Varel's engineers could not understand. They're interfering with our sensors," shouted a technician. "Nothing reads properly." Varel clenched his fists. "Then we escalate. Lock all interceptors. Bring them down. Show them the cost of crossing Zorathian space." Back on the Valiant, Elena felt a bead of sweat slide down her temple. The ship groaned under strain, shields flickering. She glanced at her crew. Young, tired, scared, but determined. They were all she had. Marco's fingers danced over the navigation panel. Captain, the interference, it's not random. It's almost like the ship itself is hiding, acting on its own. Elena's eyes widened. Could it be true? The ship's new stealth technology was experimental. It was supposed to confuse enemy tracking long enough to escape. And yet, it was doing more than that. It was actively fooling the aliens. Good, she whispered. That gives us a chance. The alien fleet closed in, forming an unbroken wall of firepower. The Valiant's engines hummed at maximum, shields sparking against incoming scans. Elena made a decision that no one else could understand but her. She pressed a sequence on the console, a hidden protocol designed for one purpose: survival against impossible odds. A pulse of light erupted from the ship, washing the darkness in an eerie glow. The aliens paused. Their systems screamed in error, unable to process what they were seeing. And then, silence. For a moment, neither side moved. Then Varel's voice came over comms, a mixture of awe and fury. "What did you just do, human?" Elena allowed herself the smallest smile. "Something you won't forget." The human warship, small and alone in a sea of alien might, had made its stand. But neither side knew the cost yet. Deep in the hull, the ship trembled. Systems struggled. Energy surged. Every crew member gripped the console, feeling the weight of history pressing down on them. And in the distance, across the void of space, other ships stirred, other eyes watched, and the universe began to whisper the name of humanity. Unpredictable, unstoppable, and perhaps unyielding. The Valiant had survived the first encounter, but the war had only just begun. The alien fleet roared with frustration, their weapons locked onto the Valiant, yet none could land a strike. Commander Virel's voice trembled with anger as he barked orders. "Adjust the attack vectors. Target their propulsion. Do not let them escape." Inside the human warship, Captain Ellen O'Rourke watched the alien screens flicker with confusion. The pulse she had unleashed in the previous encounter was not just a shield. It was a clever trick, one the aliens could not easily decipher. Her crew worked tirelessly, fingers moving over consoles, eyes scanning for any sign of danger. "Captain," Lieutenant Marco Reyes said, pointing at the radar. "They're recalibrating. They're trying to figure us out. But we're one step ahead. I can give them false readings, make it look like we're in 3 different places at once." Elena nodded. "Do it. Every second counts. Keep us moving. Keep them guessing." The Valiant shifted and darted in ways that defied alien logic. One moment it was in front of the fleet, the next it vanished behind a gravitational anomaly, only to reappear elsewhere. Missiles fired, only to miss completely, and energy pulses intended to track them dissolved into empty space. In the alien warship, chaos erupted. Virel slammed his fists onto the console. "Impossible, they cannot move like that. Their systems are too advanced." A young alien technician hesitated before speaking. "Sir, it's more than technology. I think the humans are thinking in ways we cannot predict. Their decisions are spontaneous, almost chaotic." Virel's eyes narrowed. "Spontaneous or not, destroy them. That is your order." Back on the Valiant, the crew's tension remained high. Every movement of the alien fleet was unpredictable, yet their strategy worked. The humans moved like shadows, invisible and elusive, their own technology enhanced by their instinct. "Captain, we've got a problem," said Ensign Lyra, the youngest on the bridge. "Our shield power is dropping faster than normal. If we push it any further, we risk burning the entire system." Elena clenched her jaw. "We don't have a choice. Keep it steady, but conserve what you can. Marco, prepare the auxiliary thrusters. If this fails, we use every last bit of speed we have." The alien fleet adjusted, trying to flank them, but each maneuver was countered by the humans' unexpected twists. Virel's face twisted with frustration as his screens flashed warning after warning. "They are not just surviving, they are teaching us to fear them." Suddenly, a new pulse of light erupted from the Valiant. It was sharper this time, more controlled. The alien sensors went wild, systems overheating, alarms screaming across the fleet. Virel stumbled back from the console. "What is that?" Marco smiled grimly. That's our last trick. It scrambles their targeting systems for a short window. Just long enough to escape. The Valiant shot forward, slipping past the alien ships in a flash of speed. It was like watching a phantom move through a sea of solid steel. Inside, the crew held their breath, each second feeling like an eternity. As they cleared the immediate danger, Elena allowed herself a moment of relief. Status report. Minimal damage, Marco replied. Shields are weak, but we're still operational. They didn't even scratch us. Elena nodded. Good, but they'll be back. And next time, they'll know what to expect. Far across the void, Commander Varel studied the readings in silence. The humans were clever, yes, but something more disturbed him. They were not just clever, they were unpredictable. And unpredictability in warfare was deadly. They're more dangerous than we thought, he muttered, almost to himself. Send a warning to the Council. Humanity cannot be underestimated. Meanwhile, in the human warship, quiet moments were filled with tension. Crew members glanced at each other, knowing how close they had come to annihilation. Lyra sat in the corner, shaking slightly. I thought we were done for, she whispered. Elena placed a hand on her shoulder. We survived because we adapted. Because we didn't panic. That's what makes us human. Marco, still at the console, added, They think they understand strategy, but they don't understand us. That's why we're alive. Elena's gaze turned to the starry void ahead. Somewhere out there, other threats waited. Other fleets, other civilizations, other unknown dangers. The universe was vast, and humanity was just beginning to show its reach. Then the ship's communicator beeped. It was an encrypted channel, sending a signal back to Earth colonies. The message was short, simple, but it carried a weight of meaning that the crew understood immediately. We survived, Elena said quietly, but her eyes narrowed. This is only the beginning. As they plotted their course for a nearby safe system, a strange object appeared on their sensors. A massive structure floating silently in the void, unlike anything they had seen before. Its shape was angular, almost organic, and it emitted a low, pulsing light that seemed to reach into their minds. Marco swallowed hard. Captain, what is that? Elena's eyes gleamed with determination. I don't know, but we'll find out. And whatever it is, it's not going to stop us. Far behind them, the alien fleet regrouped, wounded and frustrated, but alive. Commander Varel clenched his fists once again. Prepare the next strike. Humanity cannot escape forever. We will hunt them, and we will break them. But the humans were already moving ahead, faster than the aliens could imagine. Their ship carrying the heartbeat of a species determined to survive, to fight, and to show the universe that they were not to be underestimated. The Valiant had survived the second encounter, and somewhere in the dark a whisper of humanity's growing legend began to stir across the stars. The mysterious structure loomed ahead like a sleeping giant, dark and silent against the endless stars. The Valiant drifted closer, sensors straining to read its shape. Every pulse, every shadow seemed alive, as if the structure itself was aware of their presence. Captain Elena Rourke stood at the observation window, her face pale, but resolute. Prepare for scanning, she said quietly. We need to know what we're dealing with before we touch it. Lieutenant Marco Reyes's fingers flew over the console, running the scans. It's unlike anything we've ever seen. Metallic but organic. Energy readings. Off the charts. It's huge, Captain, and it's not just a structure, it's alive somehow. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The war with the Zorathians had been dangerous, yes, but this was unknown territory. Even the seasoned crew felt a shiver of fear. Elena nodded, keeping her voice steady. Fear is normal, but we adapt. That's what humans do. Deep in the alien fleet, Commander Varel studied the Valiant's movement. The humans were heading toward the strange object. A chill ran down his spine. No, he whispered. They shouldn't be doing that. They might discover something we cannot control. Back on the Valiant, the ship glided into the outer perimeter of the structure. Sensors pinged strange signals, almost like messages encoded in light. Marco frowned. Captain, these signals, they're patterns. Repeating patterns, I think. They're a map or maybe a warning. Elena leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. A warning for who? Before anyone could answer, the ship shook violently. Energy surged through the hull, lights flickering. The crew grabbed consoles to steady themselves. Shields holding at 50%, Marco reported. But this energy, it's interacting with our systems. And not just that, it's showing us something. Coordinates, directions, a pathway through the unknown. Elena's mind raced. It's a guide. Something wants us to go inside. The ship adjusted course, following the invisible trail. As they approached, the structure's surface rippled as if sensing their movement. Shadows danced across the hull, and the crew felt a strange presence, neither hostile nor friendly. Then, an image appeared on the main screen. Human figures. Not holograms, not recordings, but a memory embedded in the structure. Humans. Ancient humans. Explorers. Their faces were serious, determined and almost familiar. Lyra, the youngest crew member, whispered, "It's us, but from long ago?" Elena's hand rested on the console. "Not us, Lyra. Humans who came before. Someone or something left this message for us." The structure pulsed again and new energy flowed into the Valiant. The ship hummed with power, systems stabilizing, shields strengthening. It was as if the structure itself had recognized the crew's humanity and lent its strength to them. Marco's eyes widened. "Captain, our weapons, shields, they're upgraded, faster, stronger, but how we didn't do this?" "The structure did." Elena smiled faintly. "Then it knows we're not just any humans. We're the ones who will face impossible odds and survive." Meanwhile, the alien fleet had tracked them to the perimeter of the structure. Commander Varel's eyes widened as he studied the readings. "Impossible," he muttered. "They're gaining power. How can humans harness that?" Back on the Valiant, tension mixed with wonder. The crew realized the structure was more than a relic. It was a test or a gift. But time was short. The aliens were regrouping, preparing for another assault. Elena's voice was firm. "We use this advantage, yes, but we also prepare for the next attack. They will come, and we have to be ready." Marco adjusted the systems, integrating the energy from the structure. We're ready, Captain. More than ever. If they attack, they'll regret it." Outside, the stars stretched as the Valiant glided into the interior of the structure. Hallways of light, corridors of unknown energy, and shifting surfaces surrounded them. It was alive, reacting to every thought, every heartbeat of the crew. Then the structure spoke, not in words, but in understanding. A feeling, a sense of direction, a mission. The humans realized that the ancient messages were a warning. Somewhere in the galaxy, the Zorathians were not the only danger. Something larger, something older, waited beyond the stars. Elena looked at her crew. "We're not just fighting to survive anymore. We're fighting for humanity's place in the universe. We adapt, we learn, we overcome. That's who we are." In the alien fleet, panic spread. Commander Varel's voice shook with fury. "They are not merely surviving, they are evolving. How can they think like this? Like warriors? Like gods?" The Valiant's crew explored deeper, feeling the structure's energy infuse them with clarity and power. They realized their ship was no longer just a vessel. It was a weapon, a shield, a beacon. Humanity, small and underestimated, was becoming something the universe could not ignore. But just as hope rose, the sensors screamed a warning. The Zorathian fleet was approaching, and this time they were bringing reinforcements. Hundreds of ships, larger, faster, deadlier. Elena's eyes met her crew's. "We've come too far to back down now. Ready weapons. Engage stealth protocols. And remember, humans do not surrender. We adapt, we survive, and we win." The Valiant trembled as the first wave of alien ships entered the structure's outer field. Energy pulsed, shields flared, and the human warship prepared to show the galaxy the true meaning of unpredictability. Somewhere deep inside the structure, the pulse of ancient human knowledge beat stronger. The past and present were connected, and the future belonged to those brave enough to seize it. The battle was coming. And humanity was ready. The Valiant trembled as the Zorathian fleet poured into the outer perimeter of the ancient structure. Hundreds of ships, larger and more advanced than any they had faced before, surrounded them like a dark storm. Red warning lights flashed across the human warship, the hum of the engines louder than ever. Captain Elena Rourke's voice was calm but firm. "All hands brace for attack. Shields at full capacity. Weapons ready. Every move counts, do not waste a single one." Lieutenant Marco Reyes's fingers flew over the controls. The fleet is massive, Captain. Their numbers could crush us in minutes. Even with the structure's energy, we'll need a miracle to get out alive. Elena's eyes narrowed. Then we make our own miracle. The Valiant twisted and darted through the structure's glowing corridors, moving faster than the aliens could predict. Energy pulses from the ancient structure surged through the ship, feeding shields and engines alike. The Zorathians fired relentlessly, but their weapons could barely touch the human warship. "Captain, incoming fire at 20 degrees starboard," Marco shouted. Missiles streaked through the corridor, leaving glowing trails behind them. Elena pressed a sequence on the console, activating a sudden gravitational slipstream. The missiles were ripped off course, colliding harmlessly into the structure's walls. "Nice work," Elena said calmly. "Keep it up." But the aliens were learning fast. Viral's fleet adapted, their formations shifting, trying to trap the Valiant in a dead-end corridor. The walls pulsed, reacting to the energy of the alien ships, but the humans were relentless. Lyra, the youngest on the crew, tightened her grip on the console. "Captain, we can't outrun them forever. They'll corner us," Elena nodded. "Then we don't run. We fight smart." Marco, engage the stealth field and project multiple false signatures. Make them think we're everywhere at once. The ship shimmered and flickered, leaving ghost images along the corridors. The aliens fired blindly, striking only empty air. Confusion spread across the Zorathian fleet. Viral growled, slamming a fist on his console. "Stop them! Do not let them escape." Meanwhile, inside the Valiant, the crew moved like a well-oiled machine. Every console, every control, every system worked in harmony. Ancient energy from the structure enhanced their abilities, making calculations faster, reactions sharper. Humans, small and underestimated, were rewriting the rules of engagement. Suddenly, the structure itself shifted. Corridors bent, openings appeared where none existed before, and glowing paths formed leading toward an exit into open space. Elena's eyes widened. "The structure, it's helping us. Follow the path exactly. We have one chance." The Valiant accelerated, weaving through the corridors, alien ships snapping at their tail. Energy pulses flared, shields sparking, the hull groaning under strain. Every second felt like minutes. "Captain, their main destroyer is ahead," Marco shouted. "If we collide, we're done for." Elena's lips pressed into a thin line. "Prepare countermeasures. We'll use the structure's energy against them." As the destroyer fired, Elena activated a new protocol. Energy waves from the structure surged outward, forming a barrier that redirected the alien attacks back toward their fleet. Explosions rippled through the corridors and the destroyer faltered, systems fried by the feedback. "Move! Move! Move!" Elena shouted. The Valiant darted past the wreckage, following the glowing path deeper into the structure's inner field. The Zorathian fleet struggled to adjust, but the humans' combination of instinct, technology, and the structure's guidance kept them ahead. One by one, ships crashed or were forced to retreat, unable to cope with the unpredictable maneuvers of the tiny warship. Finally, the Valiant burst through the structure's outer boundary, entering uncharted space beyond. The stars stretched endlessly, silent and serene. For a moment, the crew allowed themselves a breath, hearts pounding but alive. Elena turned to her team, her voice soft but firm. "We made it, but this isn't over. They will follow, and whatever awaits us out here, we need to be ready." Marco wiped sweat from his brow. "Captain, I can't believe we survived that. The structure, the ship, it's like we were meant to do this." Elena nodded slowly. "Maybe we were, but survival isn't just luck. It's human ingenuity, courage, and the refusal to give up. Remember that. This universe underestimates us at its own peril." Lyra looked out the observation window, eyes wide. "Captain, what is that?" Elena followed her gaze. Floating in the distance was a massive object. Unlike the structure they had just escaped, dark, angular, and ominous, it pulsed faintly with energy. The sensors could barely detect its full shape, but its presence was undeniable. Marco shivered. "It's huge, and it's alive. Or at least, something alive controls it." Elena's jaw tightened. "Whatever it is, it's our next challenge. And we'll face it just like we faced the Zorathians, together." In the distance, the alien fleet regrouped, battered but not broken. Commander Virel's eyes burned with fury. They escaped again. But this is not the end. Humanity will pay for defying us. Back on the Valiant, the crew felt a strange mix of fear and anticipation. They had survived impossible odds, outsmarted a superior force, and discovered wonders that few could imagine. Yet deep inside, they knew the universe was vast, full of dangers even greater than the ones they had faced. Elena's hand rested on the console, eyes scanning the unknown ahead. We adapt. We survive. And no matter what comes next, we win. That's what it means to be human. And somewhere in the distance, the massive living object pulsed as if aware of the small warship approaching. The next chapter of humanity's legend in the stars was about to begin. The massive object loomed closer, its dark angular shape pulsating with strange energy. The Valiant drifted toward it cautiously, shields humming as the ship absorbed the energy flowing from the uncharted structure they had escaped. Every crew member felt a mixture of awe and fear. The object was alive, but in a way they could not yet understand. Captain Elena Rourke's voice was steady. We need to find out what it is and how it works. Marco, run full scans. Lyra, prepare observation protocols. This could be important for humanity, and we cannot afford mistakes. Lieutenant Marco Reyes's fingers flew over the controls. It's massive, bigger than any capital ship we've encountered. But the energy readings, it's not just alive. It's intelligent somehow. It's analyzing us, Elena frowned. Then we have to be careful. One wrong move and it could destroy us. But if we learn its secrets, it could become the greatest advantage humanity has ever had. Meanwhile, across the stars, Commander Varel's fleet recovered from their earlier defeat. His eyes burned with fury as he surveyed the damage. They are more than humans, he muttered to his lieutenants. They survive. They adapt. They are evolving, faster than we can control. Prepare the fleet for a final strike. We cannot fail. Back on the Valiant, the crew detected incoming transmissions. The Zorathians were approaching, but this time their fleet was larger, faster, more organized. Hundreds of ships moved like a swarm, intent on capturing or destroying the humans. Elena's jaw tightened. We expected them. But we have one advantage, the object ahead. Prepare weapons, but don't fire until I give the order. We'll use it to turn the fight in our favor. The ship edged closer to the massive object. Strange corridors of energy surrounded them, glowing pulses flowing in patterns that seemed almost like a heartbeat. The Valiant's sensors adjusted, integrating the new energy into their systems. Shields strengthened, weapons charged faster, and navigation became sharper. This is incredible, Marco whispered. It's like the structure is alive and helping us prepare for battle. Elena's eyes narrowed. It's not just helping us. It's giving us a choice, use its power to survive or retreat and risk failure. Humanity doesn't retreat. Suddenly, the object pulsed violently and a wave of energy washed over the Valiant. The crew felt their minds sharpen, calculations moving faster, reflexes heightened. It was as if the ancient structure had awakened something inside them, a latent part of human potential they had never realized. Captain, we're ready, Marco said. Weapons are fully powered. Shields are at maximum. We can take on their fleet, Elena nodded. Then we make our move. Engage the fleet. The Zorathians opened fire, energy blasts streaking across the void, aimed to destroy the small human warship. But the Valiant moved like lightning, twisting, dodging, and striking back with precision. Every shot found its mark, exploiting weaknesses the aliens had not even considered. Virel's voice rang with fury. Impossible. Their reactions, their tactics, they are unnatural. Inside the Valiant, the crew felt a surge of confidence. They weren't just fighting for survival. They were showing the galaxy what humanity could do. Marco activated the stealth projections again, creating multiple ghost signatures. Alien ships fired blindly, destroying each other in confusion. Elena's hand rested on the control panel. Now the next phase, she said. She directed the ship toward a cluster of enemy ships, allowing the energy from the living object to amplify their attack. Energy beams surged, tearing through the Zorathian formation, sending vessels spiraling into the void. One alien commander, larger and more heavily armored than the rest, managed to board the Valiant via a boarding pod. The crew braced for direct confrontation. Elena's eyes narrowed. Prepare for close combat. Stay calm, stay sharp. Remember what makes us human. We adapt, we overcome, we win. The alien commander stepped onto the ship, claws extended, eyes glowing with hatred. But the humans were ready. Lyra fired a pulse disruptor, knocking the alien off balance. Marco activated force fields confining the invader. Even in close combat, the humans acted with precision. using teamwork and intelligence over brute strength. The battle raged, energy flares exploding outside as the Zorathian fleet faltered under the combined assault of the Valiant and the living object. Slowly the humans pushed back, demonstrating courage, cleverness, and the resilience that had always been humanity's greatest weapon. Finally, the alien commander retreated. The Zorathian fleet broke formation, and the humans emerged victorious for now. But the lessons were clear. Survival was only possible because they had adapted, because they had used every tool, every advantage, every ounce of ingenuity available. Elena took a deep breath. This is what it means to be human. We do not surrender. We do not retreat. And when faced with impossible odds, we rise higher than anyone expects. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the humans' triumph. The living object pulsed once, almost approvingly, as if acknowledging their strength and determination. But far away, in the void beyond, other forces stirred. The universe was vast, full of dangers even greater than the Zorathians. Humanity had survived, but the challenge had only begun. Elena's voice was calm but resolute. We've won this battle. But the war, the real war, is just beginning. And we will be ready. The Valiant floated among the stars, small but defiant. Humanity had proven itself once again, unpredictable, unyielding, unstoppable. The Valiant floated in the calm after the storm. The Zorathian fleet had been repelled, their forces scattered, their morale shattered. The living object ahead pulsed softly, a silent witness to humanity's triumph. Inside the ship, the crew moved quietly, exhausted but alive. Captain Elena Rourke stood at the observation window, staring at the dark expanse of space. We did it, she said softly. But even as she spoke, she knew the war was far from over. Humanity had survived the impossible, but the universe was vast, full of unknown dangers waiting beyond the stars. Lieutenant Marco Reyes wiped his brow. They underestimated us. Every step, every move, we used it against them. They'll think twice before attacking humanity again. Elena nodded. Yes, but underestimating us is what makes us dangerous. We adapt, we learn, we survive. That's humanity. That's what they cannot calculate or predict. Ensign Lyra looked at the massive living object. Captain, what is it? Why did it help us? Elena's eyes softened. I don't know for sure. Maybe it's a relic of ancient humans left to guide those who came after. Or maybe it's something older. Something that recognizes potential. But it chose to help us because we are human. Because we never give up. The ship's sensors pinged again. A faint signal from Earth colonies appeared. Small, almost like a whisper across the void. Humanity was waiting, unaware of the battle fought so far from home. Elena turned to her crew. We send a message. Let them know we are alive. Let them know humanity is more than they ever imagined. And let them know we are ready for whatever comes next. Marco tapped a sequence on the communicator. Message sent. Simple, clear, but powerful. It'll reach every colony, every human outpost. They'll know we survived and that we are prepared. The living object pulsed again, and this time a new pathway appeared in space. A shimmering trail leading far beyond the explored systems. It was a path to unknown territories full of possibilities and danger. Elena smiled faintly. The universe is telling us to move forward. To explore, to survive, to grow stronger. That's what humans do. We do not wait for challenges to find us, we go to them. The crew prepared the ship, engines humming with renewed energy from the structure's gift. Every system, every weapon, every shield had been enhanced. The Valiant was no longer just a warship. It was a symbol of human ingenuity and courage. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, serene and infinite. Somewhere far away, the scattered Zorathian fleet was regrouping, reporting their defeat and planning revenge. But humanity had shown its strength. They had survived the impossible, adapted to the unknown, and triumphed where others would have failed. Elena's hand rested lightly on the console. We've learned something vital. Humanity is not weak. We are not predictable. We are unstoppable when we refuse to give up. And this is only the beginning. The ship moved along the shimmering path, leaving behind the remnants of battle and entering uncharted space. Every crew member felt it. The pulse of adventure, the promise of new discoveries, and the weight of responsibility. Humanity was no longer just a fledgling species in the galaxy. They were a force to be reckoned with, capable of facing any challenge. In the distance, faint signals flickered. Ancient systems, unknown civilizations, dangers waiting beyond comprehension. But the humans were ready. The Valiant surged forward, carrying not just a crew but the hope and ingenuity of an entire species. Elena's voice echoed through the ship, calm and determined. We fight because we must. We survive because we can. And we will never, ever surrender. Humanity has begun its true journey, and nothing in the universe will stop us. The stars stretched infinitely ahead, and the Valiant moved boldly into the unknown. Behind them, the Zorathians licked their wounds and re-evaluated their calculations. Humanity had proven itself unpredictable, unstoppable, and full of potential the universe had yet to understand. And somewhere deep in the void, new eyes watched the tiny warship. Ancient forces, curious and cautious, had noticed humanity's spark. The galaxy was changing. A small species had made its mark, and the story of human courage, adaptability, and triumph was just beginning. The Valiant surged forward, engines blazing, shields strong, and crew determined. Humanity had survived, and the universe would never forget it. For the first time in the vast silent void, humanity's heartbeat echoed among the stars, and it was loud enough for the entire galaxy to hear.